RTD Live Talk, Detroit's number one late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Monday night live stream. Excited to be back for another live stream and to just share a lot of interesting things happening in the news. So today is Monday, the 27th day of the month of July, the last week of the month of July, as well as the last week for the scheduled extended benefit program. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and get your thoughts on what's going on and how basically it's going to be more left right, going back and forth to a complete stalemate of them not being able to decide how they're going to prop this thing up. But we're going to talk about that. So welcome to the live stream. As always, for any new viewers or anybody willing to share where they're located at, definitely would love to find out and welcome you to the community, and definitely shout you out for taking time to join us. And so what else we got here? So I'll check in via chat and then dive into a couple articles, open up the phone lines, and then I want to hear from you guys. So once again, there's more than enough stories that we will not be able to get to. So that's why I look forward to seeing what's on your radar and what's on your mind as well. So we got Mr. John Colorado in the building. We got Solo. We got Mastermind. What else we got? John Hope. We got JoJo, Tony Blaylock, AA Ron. We got let me see, GMs. Give me some during brand. Okay, I'm about to work on that one. Luke, how you doing, my friend from Ohio? Appreciate you for tuning in. Doom. Okay, so a couple thoughts. I'm going to read these real quick and dive into the news. Man, another show. Yes, we got Mike. They're calling it the Hills Act. More likely the Steals Act, giving billionaires our dollars, pacifying us with another $1,200. Yeah, man. We got Bitcoin over 11,000. This is wild. Dollars on the last leg. Okay. The next step is to go Fed, coin, digital. Okay. So I see where we're going. Okay. So welcome everybody. I appreciate you guys tuning in. So of course, the mainstream news today, Mitch McConnell came out and threw out his proposal on the table. And as of now, people, it's just a proposal. It will not fly. It will not get any traction. It will not be moving forward this week, just because already I got an article here that talks about, 3 reasons as to why it will be shot down upon arrival. And so once again, it's going to come to a complete stalemate as far as the House and the Senate not coming to terms as to what's going on. And I think it's more so intentional, just because I think they want to continue to, of course, keep people on edge, continue the financial and economic destruction of our economy, especially on a financial realm when it comes to allowing the pain to really set in for the American populace, so that they can, of course, disrupt, Trump's, narrative. And so even Larry Kudlow today came out and gave a little, interview or whatnot. And you can only speak about the obvious things, which is beyond, between chaos in all these cities and the moratoriums being cut off and evictions on the way and unemployment numbers, the true ones are still rising. So you can only say so much before people stop really believing that crap. But he tried to throw in some statistics saying the manufacturing numbers are up and these numbers are up. I'm like, dude, it's too late. Nobody believes it because more people are feeling pain as opposed to believing the narrative that everything is fine, the economy is great, all that stuff. We're well beyond that point. Things have already collapsed, and now we're starting to feel the effects of what it looks like to live in a failed country, failed state, failed economy, you name it. Literally, I would say, and I remember mentioning this before, a lot of people asking my opinion about, where do I see the economy going and where do I see this country going as we enter into the last leg of the Federal Reserve note and the Federal Reserve system, as they are, buying up everything and basically stealing from the populace again. And I see already, I would imagine, and let me know if I'm right or wrong. Let me know what you guys think. I'm of the mindset that we're already have entered into what I would consider more of a quasi second world status as of now. And the reason I say that is because if you look at all the statistics and the true nature of the economy, between the high unemployment, business closures, on top of the whole health scare that they're still trying to pump up, and also got some vaccine stuff. It looks like they're going to be rolling out some technology in one of those vaccines. So we're going to touch on that as well. And so just basically getting the pulse upon where we currently stand now, where consumption in general is not what it used to be, is basically the driving force for our economy. And once people are no longer spending, the velocity of money is relatively extremely low. we have no economy at the end of the day. And so that right there lets me know that things are a lot worse than what we'll ever hear in the mainstream news. And so that's why I think we're closer to that second world status, which is basically saying, and also reports out there about credit lenders no longer allowing easy financing the way they used to. And that's troubling because they're questioning whether or not people will have the income to be able to repay those debts, and people taking advantage of the credit card system and all the financing to basically rake up debt with the idea of not even paying it back. So they're cutting down certain people on credit or whatnot. So curious to find out what you guys think about that. Let's touch on that a little bit, but just my 2 cents. So I see a lot of good thoughts out here. See a lot of talk about silver, man. A lot of people are excited about silver and gold. Okay. And so I want to share some thoughts with you again, because, of course, I couldn't help but see all the buzz and hype on social media. But once again, don't get ahead of yourself. And I'm going to show you why, because I think, people are spending more time focusing on the nominal price as opposed to the historical ramifications of what we're experiencing right now. And it has nothing to do with the current price, in my opinion. And I'm going to elaborate on that more, because, we're looking at the price in a currency that's failing. And keep in mind this, up until like right now, last 24 hours, 48 hours, gold in particular was already at an all-time high, and every other currency that was failing. So it's not really, much going on there, other than the fact it's currently, rising in a currency, the reserve currency, that's failing, which on the surface is a big deal. But I'm going to share something else with you guys, which I think should be more of your focus as opposed to the actual price. And so let me see here. We got John something says, Mike, you need to watch a video of a doctor named Stella Emanuel. Can I put in a link in the chat? Feel free to do so, John, and let me know where it's at, and I'll definitely pop it up, and we can touch on that, and I'll definitely share it. So I appreciate that, and definitely would love to hear those insights. Okay, so let me get into this. Let me dive right into it. So I'm going to just skim through the surface a little bit, give you some of the surface talk, and then we can dive in further to the nitty gritty if you guys want to, and also open up the phone lines. We can talk in depth about whatever else you guys want to talk about. So off rip, just a quick summary here based upon Mitch McConnell's speech today. Not surprised at all, as I always mentioned before, because we're coming towards the end of this current monetary paradigm. It's primarily based upon easy credit, backed up in a dying dollar or dying Federal Reserve note. As we're sitting here, they're going to be throwing all types of bribes and all types of carrots to dangle in front of us until that digital rollout or the digital payment system is ready. And so HEALS Act, stimulus, Senate GOP proposes $1,200 check. So one of the craziest things I heard was the idea that this $1,200 that's coming will help people that are struggling with paying their bills and paying their rent and things like that. I'm thinking once again, $1,200 is literally, that's a mortgage note right there. That's literally a mortgage note and maybe a meal at a restaurant or something like that. That's it, on top of all the other stuff on top of it. But once again, it will not suffice the way that they've thrown this stuff out here. So we got the same old thing before. We got $1,200 coming, apparently, for those that qualify. Stipulations are still that if you're under 100,000, you qualify $1,200 and then $500 per kid. And then some of the interesting things they try to sneak in there happens to be about the provisions for allowing businesses and schools not to be held liable for any type of situation when it comes to the health regarding this whole pandemic situation, which is something that won't fly, of course, on the other side of the aisle. And so the biggest thing is the tier of cutting down the extended benefits from what they're saying is, as of now, 600, what it is now, to the end of this week, I believe, until possibly 200, until they roll out the little mandate with the states, where the states can then adjust it according to the unemployment rate and give a portion of the unemployment or salary amount up to 70% or something like that. So once again, nothing to really help anyone in the long term. It's more so another temporary patch up. This is a patch job, literally. And so we look at the first patch job. The first patch job was designed to get us through. What was it? That 120-day window, as I referenced. And so from March up until June, July was that 120 plus day window that they used to plaster over the economy with PPP, unlimited QE, stimulus, relief, whatever they want to package it up as, which ultimately boils down to legalized counterfeiting. That's all this is, nothing more, nothing less. And it so happens to be in the currency, the last reserve currency that the world has depended upon for the hopefully basically the last 100+ year, or 100 years rather, 50 years for sure since the Bretton Woods situation. But here we are now witnessing the end of the Federal Reserve note. And one thing I want to really make sure I continue to pound on, and of course we got a lot of people out there excited about the price activity when it comes to metals. And as I mentioned, don't get ahead of yourself as far as how we're looking at the way it's priced. It's priced in Federal Reserve notes. And so for those that take it's really important to separate the two. You got sound money and you got fiat currency. Like that is a distinction you have to really settle yourself upon, because if you're looking at the price of silver, gold go up in a fiat currency, it's no different than what we've experienced all around the world with all-time highs in their currency and the price that is made, the priced in gold and silver. What it basically says is it requires more pieces of paper in that currency to get that metal that you want. So basically, in a redemption form, all paper was designed to be redeemed. And so it costs more units of currency to redeem in order to get metal. And so it's not necessarily that the price is going up, it's the currency purchasing power being destroyed in regards to those assets there. And so I think gold and silver, of course, okay, nominally, it looks appealing to the eye, numerically. But yeah, if you look at it from a historical standpoint, we are so far from being able to actually fathom what a nominal price might look like. And so I think we need to focus on the ratio. The gold to silver ratio, to me, is more important than actually paying attention to what silver is doing now, what gold is doing now, because gold surpasses nominal all-time high. Okay, but yet in comparison to all the damage that's been done with these legalized counterfeit units of currency that's been created, it's nowhere near what it will end up as nominally at the end of the day. And so I think you can get a little bit too giddy based upon the fact that you're looking at it from a dollar standpoint or Federal Reserve note standpoint as opposed to the ratio. Look at it from a historical standpoint, and that's what I'm going to go to next. So once again, let me stop ranting, and I'll open up the phone lines in a minute, because we got Catbird Seat from the Philippines. How you doing? Appreciate you from tuning in. So what I want to share with you guys, which is something I think is extremely important, and I want to do it from a historical standpoint. I think it's more important to assess this current rally in terms of the ratio. And so in order to make sense of how crazy the environment we're in really is, think about it from the standpoint that prior to the 1960s, especially before the technology stepped in and computers became the computers and the paper products, i.e. the COMEX futures and all those financial instruments that were created to control the nominal price of gold and silver was brought into existence. It was basically it was a monetary metal well before this little, I'm going to show you guys right here. So right around this time frame here. And so you see how it was relatively stable prior to the demonetization and coin and silver being removed from coinage, as well as gold being illegal to hold for citizens in this time frame here. And you see here when these gyrations really began to take off is when we entered into the computerization of the paper game, in a sense, to where manipulation came in big time. And so we've been conditioned to look at gold and silver as a commodity as opposed to money. And that's why I say the danger is because, as you see here, these gyrations here, it's never been steady. It's never been steady in the last 50 years that we've known gold and silver to be money. And so what we have to do, I believe, is take the mindset of, if we were to look at this from a longer time frame, and I couldn't actually find a chart that is historical in nature. It goes back to 1600. I could not find it to bring to you guys. But in a nutshell, as of right now, the ratio, the gold to silver ratio, as we speak, it is at 75. So right now, 75 ounces of gold will get you, or 75 ounces of silver will get you 1 ounce of gold. Okay, that is a major improvement from this relatively all-time high of 126 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. And so, as you can see here, the good thing to be excited about, relatively speaking, is the fact that this gap here, this margin of ratio, is coming down. Now, once again, from a historical standpoint, for the last 400 plus years, apart from this century that we've been operating in under the computerization and all the paper stuff, it's been 1 to 15-ish. Comes out of the ground at about 1 to 9, give or take. And so it's not until we've gotten into the paper game of all the COMEX and all the futures, all that stuff they've piled on top to manipulate the price, we've accepted the fact that it's been, 30 to 1, 50 to 1, 60 to 1, 71. But until it gets back to what it comes out the ground as, or what it should be, well before the manipulation of it with all this computerized paper stuff, which would be at a 20, as it says here. So it got down to 17 to 1 in 1968. At the same time, that was around a time frame where the Treasury basically removed coinage from silver and they let it go. They just they sold all the silver, let it go, and that's where things begin to take off. So until we get back to this type of environment here, where it's more stable, it's more calm, and it's more realistic for what it comes out the ground as, everything else to me is just hype. And so here we have in 1920, it got down to 17 to 1. So 17 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold, closer to what it comes out the ground as. And technically speaking, what it was closer to for the last 400 years prior to. So if I could pull this chart out here to 1603, I think I have a chart for. It was 1 to 10, to 13, 1 to 14, give or take. So until we get closer to there, enjoy the nominal price gains, but yet once again, it's nowhere near what it will end up as when this stuff really gets out of hand. And show you recent activity here. So when we had a last little dip, it got down to 31.60. That's something that would be good. We get back to there consistently. That means gold and silver, the nominal price will probably be 4,000 to 100 or something like that, or whatever that might equate to. But long story short, right now we're at 77-ish. So until we get to that closer to what it comes out the ground ratio, or what it was, what the ratio was prior to the manipulation with all the fake paper stuff, hold your breath. Don't be too excited, because in the meantime, we can see some type of alterations or whatnot. You never know. But enough of me ranting, man. Let's get this phone line open, because I can go on forever. But I just wanted to put that out there, because today, especially as I saw a lot of people celebrating the price of gold and silver, I'm thinking like, okay, that's good. I'm not satisfied, because I'm looking for more out of this. Like, for me, real change is when it's closer, the ratio is closer to what it should be historically. That means all hell has broke loose. Manipulation game is pretty much done. And then the ratio should be something like a 10 to 1, if not a lot lower, because once again, silver is a lot more important than gold to the world right now. And so just my 2 cents there. But let me know what you guys think. We got a phone call here. Let's get this thing started. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Dwayne. What's going on, Mike?
How you doing, my man? What's on your mind tonight?
Not much. Just talking about that chart. Like that chart, brother. Like that chart. Yo, that chart. I see you improving on them chart skills. Good job, my man.
I'm trying, man. I just a lot of people getting excited about $26 silver. I'm thinking like, man, that's don't settle. You know what I'm saying? Just be patient, relax. Keep an eye on the ratio. If it gets back up above 80 or something like that, then it's really not making the type of the progress we really wanted to. But anyway, what's on your mind tonight?
Yeah. Well, I think the price. I've been watching at $21.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always said, once it breaks at $21,
mm-hmm.
there really isn't any sellers.
Yeah.
Because all the sellers got cleared out after pretty much they was clearing out all the sellers.
Yeah.
Then you taking the fact that I read a report. Well, I heard about a report. I forgot what channel it was. That J.P. Morgan have a billion ounces worth of silver.
Yeah.
So, but think about this, Mike. A billion ounces worth of silver. Their credit card position, their lending position is about to crack. Is about to plummet.
Mm-hmm.
So that silver and and they have a lot of copper as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that silver in that copper position, that's a great offset to a lot of fiat and the money that's coming to prepare their balance sheet, because that's I'm an alma mater of theirs.
Yeah.
That's my alma mater. And one thing they teach at JP Morgan is balance sheet position.
Mm-hmm.
They're real big on the balance sheet. I mean, like they drill that into your head, the balance sheet position. So I'm thinking that I don't think they're good, because they had the biggest short position. Everybody knows that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to be doing too much short. They might cool it off here and then.
Yeah.
But I really do think we off to the races.
I don't doubt it. And the question is, how long can this current rally remain without there being some type of, because once again, we're entering an uncharted territory where we've never experienced anything like this, where complete chaos is happening around us. The Federal Reserve note in regards to the VIX is having issues. Confidence is waning. The country's falling apart. Politics is a mess. And so we can be excited about the prices going up, but then again, all around us is crumbling. So, it's like give or take, like, can you really be excited when the world around you is crumbling down, So, yeah.
But I think you can be, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. You can be excited in the fact that you have been preparing, but you pretty much buy yourself some time to make the next move. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas if you didn't have that fortitude to make that preparation,
mm-hmm.
your situation would be dire. So now what you got to do is think, okay, I got this part covered.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I have to do with the people that I care about to make sure that we get through this time the way we need to get through it? Because with the changes that come through, we're experiencing fundamental changes in this country. I don't even know if we're going to be the United States if we come out on the other side. It's going to look very different. But I think we're off to the races.
Yeah.
I think I was kind of thinking I thought this would be a test case run,
mm-hmm.
but it looked like they're going for it to me, Mike.
Well, hey, we will see, my man. I appreciate you calling in. Get a couple more people in here. So thanks for calling in, and I appreciate your insights.
Yep, no problem, sir.
Be good. Yeah, man. Great call there. Appreciate those insights there. So feel free to give me a call. Phone lines are open. Let's talk. As always, if you guys enjoying the back and forth, don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up button. Show your support for the channel. And so I see some thoughts out here about I really think copper is a poor man's silver. Copper, it's important. It's not precious, but it's a base metal. It's on a periodic table. Anything on a periodic table is probably doing good right now. I'm not sure, but it probably is. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike. This is John from Colorado.
John from Colorado. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right.
What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, things are getting kind of nasty here in the city. I was commenting, but I live in Aurora, and they have all these protests, and they had another one where they started getting kind of physical and breaking windows and all that kind of stuff. So
mm-hmm.
It seems like the cities are just getting kind of nasty. I saw another person on the chat saying, East Coast and the South too. Everyone's kind of getting on the edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But my question was for you. I know silver's been exploding lately. In the past
mm-hmm.
week, it's gone up like 25%. And of course, I'm real happy, but I'm just really kind of cautiously optimistic that I could see a drop of $3 or $4 overnight or something. And when it comes to buying call options and looking at miners, those could really get hit too, especially the options because they're more leveraged.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah. So my prior stance is, man, I never really focused on I never got into the mining entirely, even though there's opportunity there. And that's why, apart from the actual physical metal, which has been my primary focus, all the other products and financial tools that's been created out there, I stayed away from them just because I think at the end of the day, you won't be able to have confidence or trust in anything outside of what you actually hold. So when it's going up, it's good. But when it doesn't, then you got to make sure you got your hands on the trigger, ready to hit enter and to sell, to buy. So it just, to me, it takes too much of a focus to go that route. So I haven't really done it myself. So I'm not the one to really, comment on that in depth.
Yeah, my idea is kind of to try to make a couple quick bucks off some options and maybe some minors, and then go in more into physical.
Yeah.
But
so a lot of people take advantage of those options. So if you know what you're doing, you have the skill set to get it done, then of course, if you can, take some of those gains out and put it in the physical, that's what I believe most people do. I just never got into it to where it'll be too much on my plate to keep my eye on the markets that extensively to make sure I'm getting in and getting out and know what and how. And yeah, so that's never been me, unfortunately, man.
I learned the hard way in April. I lost a lot. The puts, expecting the market to go down. So you learn pretty well when it's your own money.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man. And so, but hey, as of now, enjoy this ride up. But as I mentioned earlier, wait to the ratio. The ratio, I think, is a key from a historical standpoint. So what we're seeing now, we're still in the computer realm with all this. So, but hey, man, I appreciate you calling.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, man. Appreciate the call. Let's talk. Let me see. We got Mr. Grant here. Vince Grant, appreciate you, my friend. Says, Mike, do you think when the new Fed currency comes out that it'll slow down the parabolic movement on cryptos and metals? Oh, do I think it's going to slow down? My first thought is no, because what we're witnessing now, I think, is just the start of the unraveling of all the manipulated products that's been sold to the public forever as financial investments. So we got a lot of scared currency looking for somewhere to land, as well as the hopes of being able to preserve some of that purchasing power. So I think it's going to take some time and confidence for people to adapt and to adjust to that new payment method, which will be digital in nature. And so it's going to be incremented, I think, along with the erosion of our current monetary system. And so how it plays out, I don't know, but I know there will come a point where the Treasury, the Fed, the government itself, they're going to try to put their foot down and make a declaration saying that anything that's not, in this new product line, you won't be able to use it. And so I don't know how they're going to roll it out, but I think they can't stop the momentum of what's going on now, because once again, when it comes to metals, it's stuff people actually have in their possession. So nothing can stop them from doing business outside of the system. So when it comes to cryptos, and once again, you're still in the system, trackable, traceable, all that stuff like that to some point. But, as of now, they can't slow it down, I don't think. Now it's just a matter of how they usher in a new system, I think. So there's just my 2 cents there. Also, viewers in the chat, let us know your thoughts on that question as well. I'm curious to find out. Luke says, Chris from The Greatest Truth Never Told thinks silver should be worth an acre of land. I don't doubt it. And so once again, I think because the manipulation has been so disastrous, it has distorted valuations in any and everything. Central banking, monetary, and fiscal policy has destroyed how we determine the value for everything. And credit has come in and basically driven up the price of every single thing. So if we were to go back to pre-computer days, in a sense, where there was no way of creating all these fictitious digits and pumping it out there, driving up prices, if people actually had to acquire based upon what they had in their pockets or what they were able to get out their savings accounts, then things would have to be a lot cheaper, because majority of the population don't sit on anything. They don't have anything. So the whole idea of capitalism was based upon having actual something to put down as a deposit when you go out and spend. And so now, zero down and, 3 months, no finance and easy credit, all that stuff. Once that ends, prices of everything will have to come down, because who will be able to actually afford it? So, yeah. So an acre of land, might be, the going rate for an ounce, because once again, if we go according to what the ratio should be based upon what it comes off the ground, and the fact that silver ultimately is more valuable than gold because it's used in everything we know technology wise, I can see an ounce of silver actually been worth more than gold. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, this is William Birkenroad from La Jolla, California, down in Southern California. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing good, William from California. What's on your mind tonight, my friend?
Well, I just wanted to comment, if you don't mind, backtracking to your earlier statement. I've been listening to you for a long time. I've been following a lot of guidelines.
Appreciate you, my friend.
Certainly. About the fact that the U.S. dollar value of silver, let's say, and gold right now, as it's trudging upwards and now starting to really run, up is good for me, because what I did starting about 5 years ago, even though I still have debt, my debt is somewhat controlled by the low interest rates that I was able to get with good credit.
Right.
However, with the prices of silver and gold going up so much since I started buying, when gold was like as low as 1,100, even though I had to pay a premium, it was still good.
Yeah.
The dollar cost averaging then was really good. So I've been holding long for a long time, but I sell on eBay and such, but see, my debt is the same. So now I'm going to pay it off with less silver and less gold going out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I understand 100%. Yeah. And so that's another thing where, given the momentum of these nominal prices of metals, my two, I just looking across the internet at prices right now. So right now it's at 26, give or take, but yet you can't buy anything for under 31, and everything, according to the sources I look at online, are sold out right now. So it's pre-order. So as I mentioned,
what's incredible is that, I started buying, but in March of 2017, I started selling by retail by auction only on eBay.
Yeah.
Even though I took the hit on the percentages and the shipping, I now have a top 100% satisfaction.
Yeah.
And so I have credibility. And so that's what I was building for. Now that it's ripping, I'm not just like happy. I realize what is going on in the financial system. I was a Series 6 and 63. If you know what that means, it's entry into the financial investment world by handling other people's capital.
Yeah,
there's the game. And so I did license. It was pretty good in 2002. Even the Fed had to sign off on me. But I want to message you sometime, because I'm having good success in all the things that I've been endeavoring for the last 5 years, even though how up and down it is.
Yeah. But
I'm a dividends expert now. So I don't charge commission or fee. So I wanted to, get involved with somebody on YouTube that
well, definitely,
man.
Understand. I'm interested in learning and would love to find out more. Do me a favor, go to the website, rethinkingdollar.com, top left-hand corner, shoot me an email, and let's connect. And definitely would love to find out more and further my knowledge base as well. So definitely would love to find out more.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, yeah, you've got a great communications channel, and that's really what I learned. There's trust, and then there's communication.
Yeah.
And those are things that are hard to come by these days.
Yeah. I agree, man.
Really hard.
Well, hey, William, I appreciate
Mike,
you, my friend.
Nice to chat with you.
Yes, sir.
I'll try and hang up now, but I was just backing up the Texas man, who always calls in, who says he's going to go into debt to buy the metals. I think he was right.
Yeah. Hey, so definitely that's one option that a lot of people, I'm sure, have taken advantage of. So, but one of the things. Be careful though. You got to be careful with that.
Yes, but there's a risky world out there. So I'm the first one to try to protect credit, but the world's changing topsy-turvy.
Yeah, it is, man. Well, hey, William, I appreciate you, my man.
Thank you.
Yeah, be good.
Thank you, Mike. All right, great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that call. All right, so let's keep it moving right along. And so let me see. I have some other articles I want to touch on. Let me see if I have something else I want to touch. Okay, so I wanted to touch a little bit more on the start off talking about the HEALS Act. And so for those that might have come in late, and so I basically gave a rundown on that, a repeat of the prior stimulus package in a sense, where the HEALS Act will not get any traction. It will not move forward. The Democrats will not have that because it's not enough stuff in there for the states or any of that stuff they want to try to throw in there. So let me actually touch on this real quick. And so give you an idea of what's going on, then I'll take the call. So here's a bill here. It says 3 reasons Democrats won't pass the HEALS Act. And I'll thumb through this briefly. It says, first, GO plan doesn't have any relief funds for states and local governments. It says, instead, the proposal offers flexibility in spending, that $150 billion. They want, they don't want no flexibility. HEALS Acts will go from $600 down to $200 per week, give or take, to subsidize 70% of workers' lost wages per state. And it says Democrats will focus on maintaining comprehensive unemployment benefits. So the Democrats are really forcing that. They want unemployment benefits extensions up until next year, which will give them time to roll out that digital dollar payment system. It says here the HEALS Act will also include a 5-year liability shield to protect businesses. And this is the most alarming out of all of that. The fact that they're looking to protect businesses which will basically have more right over employees to say you must work or you're going to get fired. And if you get fired, you qualify for nothing. So it's going to put people in a stranglehold to have to go in, jeopardizing their health situations and all that type of stuff like that, because none of this stuff is ironed out in detail. It's all just skimmed over the surface. They lump everybody together. They won't take into consideration people who may have health issues and people who may not want to go to work, and all the flexibility they have now, they won't have. And so that's why it will not fly. And so just a little nutshell as to what they are saying the Democrats will not stand for, which means that there will be no bill passed this week. And then I can see this bill being drawn out, or this whole process being drawn out up until the middle of August, possibly to where they give. But watch, before it's all said and done, President Trump, if he wants to have any type of fan base or support of his prior having, he's going to have to up that 200 a lot. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Evan from Central Texas.
Evan from Texas. What's on your mind tonight, my friend?
Yeah, well, I wanted to call about not the last caller, but the one before last where he was talking about the options. But I did want to say that, like, maybe just give him. So I don't know a whole lot about options, but I have invested in the past, and more. I've looked at them more of long term as triple leveraged gold ETF like JNUG and NUGT. So those, whenever gold goes up, you're going to get a lot more price action in it. So I've seen yields of 3 to 5% in one day. So, and it's been going up.
Yeah.
And so I like I said, I don't know a whole lot about options, but that might be that's a gold ETF, but it's triple leverage. So
yeah,
the caller from Colorado.
Okay, well, definitely when you're done, type that information into the chat as well for anybody who else might have interest can look into that as well. So it's just not financial advice, just some information to use at your leisure. But what else on your mind?
For sure. Yeah, I've got another thing. As far as like that low blood pressure guy talking about maxing out credit cards, is and buying gold and silver. I understand what he's saying. Is he serious about it though?
I think it's one of those things that he's using for himself. I don't know to the extent, but he mentions that he has a couple cards or whatnot. He maxes them out, pays off this card. I mean, so he's given the whole breakdown before, but I think it's something that he's utilized as a strategy. And so I see where he's coming from, but I never, condone that or push that myself. So that's just one man approach from the chat. So if he does, more power to him, but it's dangerous in my opinion.
No, I didn't max out my credit card, but this was several years ago. I had raised my limit on my credit card at the bank, and she'd asked why, and it was a very similar reason. I just told her I wanted to buy, several $1,000s worth of gold and silver, just because eventually it's going to go up. So even though if I have this debt, if it goes up, I will be able to pay it off. So it's interesting that he said that. And I've had that philosophy, so I don't feel so, awkward about it. I mean, I typically just buy a little bit, here and there at a time. I'm not, that I don't know. I just don't feel that safe about, maxing out my credit card about it. But I do understand that philosophy. And, I was telling the banker lady, and she's like, I thought she would think I was kooky, but she was like, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, you probably introduce her to something. She's probably she's like, why would you want gold and silver, probably?
But I wanted to ask, I don't know. I just wanted to mention about the gold and silver going up. I mean, gold has just been booming, but I haven't looked at the charts and stuff. But I mean, with all the manipulation, it's hard to tell. But I mean, I would just expect with like anything else to see a retracement in gold and silver. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I've got a lot of silver, and I wouldn't say I really sat on the sidelines, but I've focused on more of investing in different areas.
Yeah.
But I've picked up some silver this week. But I mean, I'm not too excited about it jumping up. I want it to stay low for a couple more years so I can just keep on, stacking.
Yeah.
And,
watch this. It's impossible to do when you have a central bank that has weaponized the national currency. And so it's no way that those two can remain possible, because people who are aware will use that extra currency, stimulus, relief, or whatever, QE, and it's going to float into what's real, whether it be any of the inflated bubble stuff already or the stuff that's undervalued and underappreciated, which happens to be silver in this case and gold. But as long as governments are weaponizing the currencies, there's no way the real money can stay affordable. So it has to go up. Now we'll see how high, but we're just in the beginning phases. So buckle up and be patient, my man.
No, I totally agree. I would have thought several years ago it should already been double, triple, tenfold of what it is right now. I had one other short little question.
Yeah.
I had a family member send me an email article about several people trying to buy silver on their credit card or precious metals, and they had gotten denied.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you'd heard about that. It was an article from Natural News, and
let me see.
It was kind of like saying trying to crack down, I guess, on silver buying or precious metals buying is kind of the bias of it. I'm not saying they're wrong. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, in the guy that they were saying, the guy made $300,000 a year, had excellent credit, had plenty of credit on his card, and just wanted to buy $2,000 worth of silver or something like that, and he got denied. And it would just seem to be kind of I'm not trying to get all conspiratorial.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if banks would eventually want to constrict purchases on precious metals, but I didn't know if you heard about that or not.
So I've had some of the community members in Australia have sent me emails, and they've sent me their geographical location where there's they've been cut off. The credit system has been cut off from bullion dealers online and the coin dealer stores in Australia in certain areas. So I knew about it happening there. And when I heard about that, which was probably maybe March, I think, or April, right before, because it's already at all-time highs in Australian dollar. But right when it started to peak is when they start cutting off credit card usage. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's happening here. And so once again, it's probably just the beginning of that. So there's going to be more people. Once Visa, MasterCard, and all those banks begin seeing that people are starting to charge metals, it's going to be cut off. Because I remember when the crypto rallied back in 2018, 2017, I was using my credit card to get cryptos, and all of a sudden they cut me off quick.
Me too.
So
yeah, me too. I did have one other thing.
Yeah,
if you have time.
Go ahead.
Yeah, as far as I would have thought that to me it makes more sense that how the Federal Reserve has been putting out all these papers you see in the storefronts about all the coin shortage. I would have. Why not see one about the dollar bills? How they're always taking them in, they're always shredding them. I feel like that. I don't know. I just would have thought that that maybe the dollar bills would have been. They could have said that coronavirus would be more likely to be on that.
That's.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still a possibility. Just be patient. Whatever the mainstream pushes will take place, and I don't doubt that's in the cards down the line. It's between now and the election or that time frame. There's gonna be some, be patient. There's gonna be something they're gonna throw at us again. So that second wave, another wave, or something. So that might be the nail in the coffin, man. But hey, let me get a couple more calls in. I appreciate you calling.
For sure. God bless.
Yep, same to you, my friend. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I appreciate the call. Let's talk. Let me see here. So so I can try to get many calls as possible. When you call in, try to get straight to your point or share your thought so I can try to free up the phone lines as best as I can. Want to get as many people in as possible. So I see a lot of good information in the chat back and forth. And so let me see what we got here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Roger. I'm in South Texas.
Roger in South Texas. What's on your mind tonight, my friend?
Well, just thinking about silver and gold, the border crossing and stuff. One thing I want to say is that some good news. I don't know if you know what's going on here at the border, but for about 2 or 3 months, they had us down to 2 lines. They're closing one bridge at 3 o'clock or lanes. And anyway, so we had a 4-hour wait to get across.
Yeah.
It was kind of punishing us for the coronavirus that we wouldn't go to Mexico to get something to eat or supply medicine or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, that's changed and that's over now. They're still closing one bridge at 3 o'clock and still making it a little more difficult, but they've opened up more lines, and so I'm happy to hear that.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about silver though right now, and it's run up, and the stock market run up. And what do you think about the stock market crashing? I'm thinking there's going to be another buying opportunity. Where do you see it?
Man, that's a great point. I personally, and I think I was talking to Max Porterfield over the weekend. I asked the same question, and so it's. I think it's the turbulence is too crazy out here now for there to be an immediate drop in everything like it was in March. Because I think right now, even if when it comes to metals, if the price was to drop, you still wouldn't be able to buy it at that price. And so equities market selling off, sure. I can see dip real estate, of course, and I can see a lot of things adding up. But when it comes to metals, I don't think you'll be able to actually get them physically. So anything else is probably possible, but you won't be able to grab an ounce for less than $20, no matter how low it goes, I think, just because we're witnessing a shortage in the ability to be able to get physical now. So metals will not dip anymore. They spot price might, but physical in hand because of the premiums, you still, it won't really make a difference, I think. But equities, yeah, sure. I think they're ready for a little correction as well.
Well, that's what I'm grappling with, because I got lucky enough to buy in a decent amount of silver at about $14.70, and
so you got it in hand,
doubling that position.
So you got it in hand, and back in March you got it in hand at $14.70.
Yeah. Like I said, I did a substantial buy. Yeah, and it depends, I guess, on what you're thinking a substantial buy is. But like I said, I feel comfortable with my position. But I'm thinking about losing a quarter of it around 30. And I don't know if that's a good decision, because I'm thinking the stock market's got to crash as we move into the new year, into November, December, as we get closer. But with all this fake pumping of money, I really don't know what to expect. And I'm thinking exactly what you're saying is that I think if I give away my physical right now, I may never get it back. And when I see it run to 100, I'll be like, God damn, why did I sell it at 30?
So, and that's one of those things where as this thing continues to unwind, I would be leery of parting ways with it for anything at this current point. And so that's why I like, take any relief, any stimulus, any QE, or any income or disposable income you get. That's what you're supposed to spend. You spend the stuff that's being, produced plentifully to get what is scarce and rare in nature. So I personally, I wouldn't part with none. So that's just me. So I wouldn't take that risk, but there's some out there that might be willing to do it.
Well, we're gonna have to watch that happen and see if we do get that dip like in 2008 or after the 2008 debacle. But you're right. I think we're in a new situation, and I don't think that we're gonna see it play out exactly like it did then. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the chat, and people said, "Do not sell." They exclamation point! Do not sell. Don't get rid of it. So a lot of people here probably are saying the same thing. Don't sell. But once again, it's not financial advice. It's just entertainment, edutainment for everybody. So, hey man, I appreciate you.
Man. I want to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I'll wait for the next call.
All right.
Take care.
Yeah, man. So I think right now, because of all the stuff we're facing, like we have financial chaos, we have economic chaos with the overall health of the economy, we have political chaos, we got social unrest, we got throw in the chat what else we got out there that I'm not even talking about, but we got so much stuff out there to where and not in my lifetime, let me know, I ain't been around too long, but not in my lifetime have I seen so many things look as bad as they are now, to where there's nothing. I wouldn't use any prior experiences we've had in the financial realm as a tool or measurement or as anything. That's gambling. That's fully gambling, because once again, we're in uncharted territory. So don't use prior performances to predict future predictions. Is what I'm saying, because I wouldn't be willing to put it all out there like that. That's just me. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is JBW calling from Palm Bay, Florida. What's going on, Mike?
How you doing, my friend? What's in your mind tonight?
So I just want to know if you heard about this small town in Washington that started printing its own currency out of wood.
Yeah, the wooden currency. Yes, I talked about that a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good thing. It's a great thing. I think it is that small town taking the powers into their own hands to create their own currency that's trusted amongst the people, and it circulates as a valuable medium of exchange. And so long as you have vendors willing to accept it, you got the citizens that was willing to work for it and use it. Hey, I think we need more of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could see that probably happening in a lot of other places.
Yeah, I think it should. I think as this stuff unwinds and people realize they're being stolen from on a daily basis, I think it's 8. I saw something today mentioning that the Federal Reserve put out their anticipated Treasury and mortgage-backed securities purchasing list. They're going to spend $8 billion at a minimum per day. So that's $8 billion being brought into existence that will never be taken out, which means that that's literally stealing from this current generation and robbing any expectation of future generations having any type of chance. So as more people realize they've been stolen from daily, I think they'll be willing to come up with their own currency that's limited in supply.
Yeah, it makes sense. Oh, yeah, and one other thing I was going to tell you, get Bar Light Broker to get you that gold team, man. He keeps talking about it.
Hey, I put out there in the chat all the time, man. I'm always open for donations. So, but appreciate it, man.
All right.
Yeah,
have a good, Mike.
Thanks. Yep. Oh, man, good stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate the call. What else is out there? So for those that came in late, I wanted to reemphasize and touch back on again why I think it's important not to solely focus on the price of metal. So right now we're looking at what I would prefer people use as a guide or a measuring tool from a historical standpoint is what I have here on the screen here. And this is the gold to silver ratio. And right now we're witnessing it correct a little bit. And we want to see this thing. What I'm more excited for is to see this red line here drop further. Like I'll be a happier camper as this line drops further, which means that the ratio is more realistic and it's more tolerable in comparison to what it was prior to the creation of all those financial products that have been used to distort the true valuation of it. So once the computer technology stuff started, look at that. It became very suspect. But yet back when it was a little bit more stable, we had better valuations. And so we want to wait till this thing corrects down to that 18, 17. Even in 2011, it got down to 30. And so right now we're at 75. Let's get it. Let's we can really have a much more enjoyable experience in regards to the financial realm only when that ratio is closer to 15-1, 10-1, and God willing 1-1. Then at that point, I think things will be make a lot more sense because the prices at that point will be, who knows what the nominal price will be. But don't be excited about pricing metals in a dying fiat currency. The Federal Reserve note is being destroyed, and we're getting excited for 100,000 silver. 100,000 silver is not a good environment to be in because that means everything around you probably costs something crazy as well. Therefore, you'll have some purchasing power, but then again, I don't think you'll be really able to enjoy it the way you would like to. Okay, so we said numismatic hold value for time like this, just like fine art. Numismatics definitely. Once again, you're going to have someone on the other side of that trade that'll be willing to pay you that inflated premium price for the numismatic value behind it, as opposed to generic round or legal tender silver, where it'll be something you might want to part ways with a lot easier. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing, Mike? This is Will from Chicago.
Will from Chicago. I'm doing good, man. I'm hearing a lot of sketchy stuff out of Chicago, though. But what's on your mind?
I wanted to let you know that I couldn't agree more with what you're saying, and so much with the chat room with silver. That to me is just a long-term store of wealth, long-term. No reason to sell it until I wouldn't want to sell any of mine until I know what the new currency, the base against it, would be. Yeah.
And then after it's devalued a couple times, because whatever's going to be thrown away after the fact will have to be accounted for on an international standard as well, which means they have to devalue a little bit as well to make it more sustainable in international trade. But anyway, that's another subject.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be very interesting to see where all those vaults are at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. What else is happening in your neck of the woods, man? Give me a rundown of Chicago. How's Lightfoot? How's she treating you guys?
I think Lightfoot's doing her best. I'm going to give credit to the superintendents out here. They're doing their best with everybody coming in, trying to make sure, assure people that any presences that are not from the city are really in a supportive role instead of an active one. And I'm really crossing my fingers that holds true.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But I did also want to let you know.
Go ahead.
I did want to reflect a concern that I might have with. I think there's a HEALS Act that was coming out. I was trying to listen to the McConnell interview about what was going on. I couldn't find a good audio level for it. But I did see that it looks like the Senate legislative calendar ends on August 7th. So I only think they have a week or two to get this thing pushed through.
And that's one of the things I mentioned earlier. Like, they can push it. They can push it through on their end, but yet when it gets to that next house, I don't think the House will even look at it, because I put up an article a minute ago saying how, this is just from Forbes, but they're saying 3 reasons why it's already shot down before it gets there. So I think it's going to be a stalemate where they're not going to be able to come to an agreement within the next week or two, or probably half a month, to where it's going to create more financial pain for people, which will definitely piss Trump off, to where Trump will probably have to come back and say, hey, they're going to try to accommodate the Democrat side of wanting more funding for all types of stuff. If Trump wants to actually be able to continue to push that narrative that we're heading towards a recovery, and a V-shaped recovery, which Kudlow loves to push. But so, yeah, I don't think it's going to get through, in my personal opinion. As is.
I sure hope it does. I've been viewing money lately as instead of how it is buying stuff, I consider it more buying time than anything else. And I just hope they get everything in order, so there's enough time.
Yeah. Well, I think this as a part of the political charades of that good guy, bad guy, good was good cop, bad cop narrative of they not doing this, they doing it. Everybody's pointing the finger, but nobody's willing to really do what it takes. And unfortunately, what it takes would fire everybody in politics has to go, as well as the central banking model, but nobody be willing to throw that out there. So we're going to get games until, whenever. So, but hey, man, I appreciate you calling.
I appreciate you too. And keep up the good work here. Listen to you as much as I can.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. All righty. So we are approaching that hour point, man. And I appreciate everybody participating in the chat. As always, if you've enjoyed the back and forth, don't be afraid to hit the thumbs up button. So it looks like we have a nice amount of people tuning in from what I see. So I appreciate the love tonight, and hopefully some valuable information was shared. Ultimately, as I always say, get your weight up, sit on it, be patient. Don't get caught up in the euphoria of a nominal price, especially when it's in a dying currency. Definitely just, utilize whatever disposable income you have, in my personal opinion, to acquire weight whenever you can. And I didn't really touch much on the crypto sector, so I'll do that real quick. But I'm of the mindset as well that anything that is similar in nature and has any type of monetary properties will definitely do well in this environment, because it's priced in a dying fiat currency. So here is what's happening as of right now. And so for those that are participating in this new technology, I'm assuming you're excited as well. And so there's a couple nice projects on here I like, but yeah, usually the top 20 are the ones that has the most activity amongst the community, and as well as what they're producing. So once again, I look at these as companies, and this is a chance to be a participate in it by getting shares in these projects and companies for those that have interest. So a lot of new technologies out there is exciting, but once again, priced in a fiat currency, it's going to go up anyway. So, but anyway, that is what she wrote for tonight. I appreciate everybody hanging out with me. As always, for those that might be new to the channel, want to direct you to the RTD website. I put a lot of articles throughout the day on there, and all types of resources, a little information, all my interviews, you name it, man. Ways for you to get involved. Also, connect with me on the chat. We're doing a little social media chat over here, so we'd love to have you guys join me. And other than that, that's all she wrote. So we'll be back tomorrow, Lord willing, same time, same place. Be blessed, and I will see you guys later. Peace.